New York Times, The Guardian, Foreign Policy, Haaretz, and the Jerusalem Post, among others. He is also co-founder and contributing editor at 972 Magazine, a collective publication by prominent Israeli and Palestinian bloggers. Dimi is also an MSc Middle East politics student here at SOAS.
Thank you, Sharon, and thank you everyone for coming. Working? I'm going to focus mainly on the academic and cultural boycott, but so as not to leave the other parts of the argument completely untouched. I would just briefly say that, sanctions I would leave to Dr. Jones, and I'm sure we'll make a much more informed and specialized comment. And divestment in general, I think, is, as John described, divestment I think is having a certain effect. I'm not sure how much it's actually helping to end the occupation. It's making it more difficult to maintain, but we're yet to see how it's actually changing the policy on the ground. I also think that, generally speaking, corporate responsibility of international organizations is a huge issue. International corporations are one of the major threats, I think, today to citizen democracy, and every time we manage to hold a company accountable to anything other than cold hard cash, it's very good, and it builds a foundation for attempts to do that on other issues. Now, about the academic and cultural boycott, I think that it's the main thing that it does. I think it misuses or fails to use the unique skills and possibilities in each of those fields. I think that both for artists and for academics, the main power that they have is not in silence; it's in voice and speaking, and persuasion and teaching, and researching and performing. First of all, the academic boycott tends to be happening mostly within the social sciences and humanities fields, which are already the weakest and most disenfranchised parts of the Israeli academia. They do not have, they have horizontal impact. They can change people's minds, I'm sure. My political outlook was very much influenced by my lectures in Tel Aviv University. Some of them were prominent pro-boycott activists. But what they can do is to go on strike and force the government to change its mind, because right now the political mindset in Israel is very anti-intellectual. The government is very anti-intellectual. The universities are being led white already. Obviously, the absence of critical voices in the academia is not something that's going to make the government to budge. And just to put a sort of a contrast to that, I want to recount a small anecdote from my years as a student. Many years ago, when I was young and a BA student at Tel Aviv University, Judith Butler came to speak. And Judith Butler is, of course, a very, very strong supporter of the boycott. And she came to our campus not as a guest of the university, but as a guest of a certain activist organization. I don't remember exactly which one. There was, of course, huge demand to attend the lecture. It was moved to the biggest auditorium that we then had. And because of the gravity of the occasion, the rector of the university insisted that he should come and speak and introduce. Now, the rector did not come from the humanities, and he didn't know. I don't think he knew who Judith Butler was. And so he mounted the stage and set his paper and said, "This is a very good day for opponents of the boycott. It sends a strong message that boycott should not be allowed under any circumstances." And the audience reacted exactly the way you do now. They came tumbling down laughing. And Judith Butler kind of looked at him over her glasses, got up, and made a fiery speech against the occupation and about the complicity of the Israeli academia and in favor of the boycott as well, which got a huge ovation. The poor rector left. And then Judith kind of reached out to his name tent and flipped it over to the floor, which also got a standing ovation. And at the time we had a small movement of students that was mostly preoccupied with picketing the humanities building. I don't know why we thought it would work. But Judith joined us, and many other people joined us, and I know for a fact from conversations after the lecture on campus that she got a lot of people to think. None of that would have happened if she stayed over. Another effect that the academic boycott is having is forcing people to choose between their careers and their success in their fields and their collegiality and the approval of colleagues who are external to the conflict. If there is an institutional, I have to say from my personal perspective that if I was a faculty member at the university that was boycotted, and the boycotters would look at my political activism and say, well, okay, let's bring him over. I wouldn't come. I wouldn't come not only because it would accepting such an invitation would damage my credibility among my colleagues, but also because I would feel distasteful, to be honest, because I'm doing what I'm doing for my country, for everyone in my country, Palestinians and Israelis and everybody else, and including my colleagues. And I'm not doing it for the approval of activists from the outside, as noble as they might be, nobly as they might be motivated, as great experts as they might be in the field. It's not for them that I'm doing this. The cultural boycott has been making some waves in Israel, but it's been most successful with artists with very small fan bases that are already largely progressive. These are not artists whose absence is going to make a lot of Israelis weep and change their minds and vote for somebody who would challenge the occupation. And again, I think that an artist coming to Israel and making strong statements, or donating the process to a good cause, will make more of an impact than an artist who stayed away. So what is BDS then? Oh, sorry. Just before I get to the part where I think BDS is working, just a note on the Israeli government reaction. A lot has been made. Okay, I'm really wrapping up. Sorry, I'm in good company. A lot has been made of the fact that the Israeli government is reacting very fiercely to calls for BDS. Well, I've had the unfortunate hobby of following Israeli propaganda efforts for the past 2 years, and the ads are so the ads and campaigns are so preposterous and speak so much in the Israeli language that I'm convinced that they're speaking to Israelis. They're not talking to audiences abroad. And what BDS, the fact that they're reacting and saying it's terrible, it actually means that it's helping them, because the Israeli government intention loves spooking Israelis into compliance. So, just to end on a slightly more optimistic, half optimistic, a optimistic note, I think BDS is effective in terms of gives activists something to do, to organize around. You're abroad. You can't interact directly with the Israeli state, but you can not buy an Israeli apple, or not go to a lecture by an Israeli lecturer, or write an email to an artist asking not to go to Israel. It gives people something to do. It's what in the no pun intended. It's what in the army they call peacetime activities. But it's also its effect is primarily within the activist community. But even then, the effect has become divisive. A lot of people are now conflating the cause and the instrument. So when you're talking to a pro-Palestinian activist, you'd often feel like you're undergoing this kind of betting interview. Do you support the end of occupation? Yes. Do you know that there's been a Nakba? Yes, it was absolutely terrible. Do you support the right of return? Yes, I do. Do you support the BDS? No, imposter. And how much good does it do? I'm really not certain. Thank you.